So here in the UK since January, we've been stuck in this horrible lockdown and it's becoming increasingly difficult to find new ways to create and new things to film. But I've been watching Daniel Schiffer's videos recently and it's inspired me to create a product video, which I've actually never done before. And to put my own twist on it, I decided to film it with the iPhone 12 Pro and see if I can get it looking almost as good as a Pro camera. In this video, what we're going to be doing is going through the filming process, the planning process, and the editing process. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk to you about some of the things I enjoyed filming with the phone, some of the limitations that I found, and maybe what I could do better next time if I ever try a product video again. So the aim was to create a really short product video of a drink, and I chose J2O because it's fruity flavoured, so it means I can get some fruit involved in the shot. It didn't exactly have to be on brand, it's my first product video, so I just wanted to experiment and do what I wanted to do with it. I had one evening to shoot it, and I was originally going to shoot it on the A7 III and the iPhone 12 Pro, but the iPhone version took so long to edit that I didn't actually edit the A7 III version. So this video is going to be entirely about the iPhone version. So before shooting, I planned out a few of the shots by watching other product videos and seeing what sort of shots they do. I wanted to get a stationary shot of the bottle that I could zoom into. I wanted to get a couple of spinning shots where the bottle and the fruit is spinning. And I also wanted to get a couple more creative shots, one of which was the splashing shot you saw at the end. The other shot I really did want to do is shooting from the top and have the fruit flying up above the bottle, but due to time constraints I couldn't get around to doing that. For the actual shoot, I put the iPhone 12 on top of a tripod and it did not leave that tripod. Everything was shot on the iPhone 12 Pro with the Filmic Pro app in 10-bit log v3. Probably not the best use cases for log, but we'll get into that later. Everything was filmed in 4K at 30 frames per second, apart from that last splashing shot, which I think was 1080p at 240 frames per second. I of course had to light the bottle, and although the lighting was far from perfect, it was my first attempt. I think I did well with what I had. I used an Aperture ALMX, pointing down the bottle from the right. I used a Falcon Eyes 8T blasting at the ceiling, and normally I'd have this pointed down and just soften the light, but my umbrella broke a few days beforehand, so I pointed it up at the ceiling to get some diffusion. Then I had a cheap newer light, the first light I ever owned, pointing down at the bottle from the left. The backdrop was a pop-out backdrop from Newer, and then a generic black table layout from Amazon. The bottle spin was mainly where I went wrong. I didn't have a Lazy Susan or anything, so I put the bottle on a tripod on top of this pizza topper thing and just span the tripod round manually. I could never get it dead center, so the bottle would be moving in the frame as it span, and this meant a lot more work in post, but the final result was good. For the slow motion shot, I had the bottle in a black tray filled with water, and me and my partner just dropped the fruit into the tray. I did this at 240 frames per second on the iPhone, which meant a lower quality image and no log, but I think it turned out awesome. One small touch also was for the splashing shot. I wanted to make sure that the water that splashed up was lit well, so what I did is I actually put a Samsung S20 behind and lit the water as it came up, which I think added a little bit of a sort of shine to the water, which is quite nice. Editing was by far the hardest part, and that's partly due to the way I filmed the bottle. As I mentioned earlier with the spinning shot, it kept going, sort of moving in the frame, which was a little bit annoying and it made it more difficult to edit. And also the colours, it would have been easier probably to film on a green screen or a blue screen and just take out the background completely, because what I wanted to do was isolate the background and the bottle so that I could get smoke behind the bottle but in front of the background. But in order to do this, it wasn't as easy as keying out the black. I literally had to cut out the bottle and the fruit in every individual frame that I wanted. I've also learned from another YouTuber called Michael Tobin, awesome YouTuber, I'll link him down below in the description, go check him out, that actually there's a big limitation with filming with the Filmic Pro app or the iPhone cameras in general. And that is that even in full manual exposure, the iPhone software actually tries to raise and lower the exposure in local areas of the shot. This means that in reality there's actually no such thing as full manual exposure on the iPhone. And in this case, what it kept doing is seeing the background was maybe too dark and trying to raise it, which wasn't ideal and made it even more necessary to cut out the bottles individually in post. So I went ahead and just used a mask to cut out the bottle and the fruit on every frame that I needed. Then I adjusted the position using keyframes to ensure that it stayed in the same position throughout the clip. I experimented with a colour background, but I just didn't think it looked right, so I decided on using smoke to make the shots more dynamic. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with titles, but I knew I wanted neon titles of some sort. So I checked out Motion Array and found this cool template someone had created with neon titles, changeable text and camera movements that added some more movement to my scenes. It also acted as a replacement black background and had a nice orange glow, which I think holds the scene together. For the zoom, I made the mistake of filming the two shots, the medium shot and the close-up, at different angles in relation to the bottle, and my normal zoom technique didn't work too well. My aim was to use the transform effect in Premiere Pro so that I could zoom in and add natural looking motion blur with the shutter angle setting. Then, partway through the zoom, I'd changed the shot to the close-up, but it changed angle too, which kind of made it less seamless. That being said, I added a small fade and it all happened so quickly that the average person I showed didn't notice. The rest of the video is pretty much repeating this cycle. Because of the splashing on the slow motion shot, it was impossible to key out the black or keyframe around it, so I ended up just putting the text on top of the bottle. It's not ideal, but it's better than having nothing here in my opinion. Again, I think a blue screen or green screen might have been better for this. Overall, I'm really impressed at how the iPhone handled this type of video. I think most of the limitations were down to my limitations in knowledge when filming a product video, but I still really love the iPhone's 10-bit on the Filmic Pro app. And if that's something you're interested in, then I do have another video on the Filmic Pro app and the 10-bit log V3, so I'll link that down below in the description. At first sight, the log captured a bit too much dynamic range and it looked like the light behind it was too harsh on the black background. But actually, as soon as you apply the normalizing LUT supplied by Filmic Pro, it brings the shot to life. The main limitation on this particular project was that thing I mentioned earlier about the exposure. So even when you're in manual exposure, the iPhone does try and brighten or darken certain parts of the shot. And in this case, it was brightening the background too much. One of the main things that separates small sensors and iPhone sensors from pro cameras is A, sharpness. And I don't think this was an issue. Shooting in log, you do get a little bit more of a soft look. And B is that depth of field. And actually the depth of field isn't really needed in a video like this. So I think it kind of worked to my advantage. All in all then, it's been a learning experience for me, and hopefully you guys have learned something too through this video, whether that be about the iPhone 12 camera or the limitations of it, or just product videos in general. If you are interested in product videos, then check out Daniel Schiffer's channel because he's got loads of videos on how to shoot these kind of things. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments section and let me know what you think of this type of video. It's a bit different for me. It's not about gear. I don't expect it to get the most views on my channel, but yeah, let me know what you thought. If it's helped you at all, then hit the thumbs up button. If you like these kind of videos, hit the subscribe button to see more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.